Hey YouTube, this is Southern Prepper 1 and welcome to Boots on the Ground. Just a reminder, the only way you can contact me is southernprepper1@yahoo.com. If anyone else is putting comments out there saying you've won something or you need something, go somewhere else, that's a scammer. Don't fall for it. The only way is southernprepper1@yahoo.com. And I don't give my phone number out. I don't list it on comments, so don't fall for it. And I never ask for money. Somebody's asking for money or information. I don't do that. You know that, so don't fall for it. Let's get right into Boots on the Ground. We currently live in Kansas City, Missouri. Very soon they'll be moving, so hallelujah for that, and moving to a smaller, nicer area. We've noticed a very sharp increase with the number of transients walking up and down our street. Nothing is safe. If anything is left out in the yard or in an open garage, it will be taken. Everything must remain locked up and secure. Incidents of road rages, shooting, and all-around crime is rising at an alarming rate. They also said they went to their local IHOP. Containers of liquid creamer were not offered. You had to actually ask for them. And they did bring them out in little measured cups. So definitely a cutback there. Also, the bottles of ketchup that was always left on the table, and I can concur with that, was not there. They had to ask for them, but the waitress said they were all out. So even simple things as ketchup is short in some areas. I know these are just small things, but maybe very telling of things to come. So that was very interesting. Let's go to another one. This person's been a subscriber for a while. They usually don't comment. They just listen to the videos while I'm working or gardening. So good use of time. Your Boots on the Ground are super helpful, and I thought I'd share my experience at a local Sam's Club yesterday in Southern California. I'm a self-employed single person and frequently use the curbside pickup service, which has been a huge time saver. But yesterday I received plums and nectarines that were not only crushed and damaged, were completely rotted with mold visible from outside of the bag. They leaked all over the back seat of my truck. I understand sometimes things happen, but it's pretty disgusting that the produce quality is so poor, especially in Southern California where we grow so much. You should be able to rely on receiving mold-free fruit and vegetables. Also, prices have been slowly increasing, but within the past month or so, they have jumped substantially. This time last year, I paid less than $5 for 3 pounds of plums, and yesterday I paid nearly $7 for rotted plums. Chicken is still about $3 per pound, and it's been difficult to find for at least the past 6 months. And when it is available, there's a limit of 2, and you have to go inside the store to purchase. No curbside pickup. My favorite coffee went from $18 to $24. Luckily, I've already stocked up on a year's supply before the price increase. Way to go. Crime has become exponentially worse with frequent break-ins in the neighborhood and local businesses. So far, my very loud and very large dogs have kept my house safe, but who knows how long this will last. Catalytic converter theft has become a really big problem in my area, and pretty much crime goes pretty much unpunished due to our lovely dictator who runs the state. Everyone I talk to is trying to leave the state of California because things are so expensive, but it's so hard to leave because you're barely making it now, and it takes money to move, lots of money to move. So, good from California. It sort of echoes what's going on everywhere. This is the local Starbucks. This is in Colorado. They're reducing their hours, closing at 6 instead of 8. I am hearing this unbelievable amount. Things are cutting their hours because of workers. Residents of Aurora, Colorado, been instructed not to water your lawns. There's that much of a shortage out west. Water is critical. Also, for the first time, a homeless tent is being set up on Southern Broadway, a Denver neighborhood. So people are losing their homes, losing their jobs, they're poor, and they're pitching their tents wherever they can pitch them. This is Michigan, heading into Royal Oaks in the Detroit delivery area. This guy takes videos of trains for his kids. They like to see them. I know my 4- and 6-year-old love to see trains, and I have taken some not far from here. Last week the trains have all of a sudden become very short, so not as long. So they used to be long, and he had time if he was driving to get his camera out. Now he says they're so short, if I don't have my camera ready, I can miss some of them. That shows you some logistical problems. This person sent me some pictures. Instant coffee, and this would be purchased at Walmart. They purchased this instant coffee 2 years ago, and the expiration date is still 4 months from now. So they had it for 2 years. They just purchased some new, and it has an expiration date of 7 months out. So they had 2-year-old that has 4 months left in it. They bought brand new stuff this week, and it only has 7 months. This shows they're not having a lot of new products. They're digging deep into warehouses and pulling out things. I sat down with a friend who's a principal at a local public school and told him I was concerned about the public schools this year. I stated the possibility of food shortages were great, and I believe the schools won't have food this fall. He looked me in the eye and said, I know. So hopefully there's people out there that can do some planning. Hopefully we do not have this bad. I don't think we will. I think it will be bad, but I think we'll still be able to eat. It'll be way, way, way more expensive, and you might not have the selection that we're used to in America. Also, you mentioned the RV industry layoffs are coming. I've told you that. Even people that work at the factories, weeks and weeks ago, I told you about them having their hours cut. It's getting worse. It is going to decimate the RV industry. You might think, well, people are going to be homeless. People won't be able to have homes. They'll buy RVs. If they're going to be able to afford an RV, it's going to be an old junky RV. They're not going to buy a new $50,000 RV or $40,000. They won't be able to qualify because they're not going to have a job. So it'll be tent city. This is a chiropractor. He wrote in and said, more people want to barter for my service. They are getting desperate. If they have insurance, they can't even pay the copay or the deductible. Let's go to Chicago area. They bought a bought a stereo from Best Buy. They paid extra to get the Geek Squad to install it. So they took 4 weeks to get their stereo in. Then they had to schedule the Geek Squad. By the time this day was to install it, the store said, oh, that guy quit, so we can't install it. So they sent him to another Best Buy, where they waited another 3 weeks on the schedule. The day came, the company said, Best Buy said, oh, that guy quit too. So they went ahead and have it install it themselves. They said there was a lot of nuts and bolts missing from the install kit. So it took a long time to get that installed. Then they had to call Best Buy and get their refund of the service of having the Geek Squad put it in their vehicle, and that took a long time trying to get that done. They thought maybe they just don't have people to install it, and they still wanted to do the sale of the stereo. This person orders groceries online at Walmart, and this was in Boiling Springs. No Great Value bread. I can attest to that. In my area, Great Value bread is mostly gone. Every time I go in there, occasionally it's full, but I think people have switched brands from the more expensive bread to the more dollar bread. They also ordered a propane stove for my house. It's back ordered. They are saying it will hopefully be here in October for the date of arrival. Then they'll have to schedule the propane guy to come out. So you might not have that for Christmas. Hopefully Thanksgiving. This is Las Vegas real estate. Some thoughts about a person that's in the business in Las Vegas real estate. A month ago was crazy hot markets. Bidding wars on homes. Now homes are sitting for weeks. The sellers are having to make major concessions. Sellers are having to fix things up. And they have had to drop the price. And most of this, they say, is probably because of the rate hikes. We're expecting another rate hike potentially this week, maybe 0.75%, and that should probably drive real estate interest rates even higher. So look for the market just to keep coming down, down, down to a point where it's going to crash. Now, I understand there's still hot areas of the country. Expect those maybe to slow down in the next few months, and they won't be as hot. This is Nova Scotia, Canada. Over the years, the hospitals have fewer doctors, and for good care, you need to go farther away to larger hospitals, maybe 35 kilometers. That's like 20-some miles. Now, most of the small town hospitals and areas are either completely closed or the emergency department is closed. This is starting to be whole weeks and even months of closure. The one closest to me has a doctor on call from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. A doctor on call from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. After hours, there is a paramedic and a nurse who can assist you by phone. Other regular emergency visits after hours, you might have to go 30 miles away to get care in an emergency. Interestingly, we pay the same amount of taxes as we did back then, and back then we got better service. I will attest to this Becky has friends in Canada. They've had some serious health problems, some broken bones, some other problems. They've had to wait, I'm not exaggerating it, sometimes weeks and months to get care that we 3 years ago would get immediately in the States. I went to the Golden Corral restaurant in East Tennessee. I noticed the buffet did not have the usual grilled steak where they would cut it for you. So that was not there. Mostly they had low-grade pork and chicken on the menu there at the buffet. Also very little cheese and dairy products out for the customer. This is because there's definitely increase in costs. This is feminine products. Person went in to a store to buy and they purchased 4 boxes. 3 of them rang up fine. The 4th box would not ring up because there is a limit. So if you need feminine products, start getting them. Even if you only get every time you go, get a couple. Make sure you have plenty of whatever supply it is, because when limits come up, they could come up quickly in the United States. This person works at Walmart. They're a meat and produce team leader. We just got a heads up on Monday, that's coming up Monday, there will be 4,000 grocery prices changing. That will occur. 4,000 is really nothing because it's daily everywhere. Prices are increasing, but I appreciate that heads up. 4,000 grocery prices going up again. Well, he just said they were changing. I'm assuming nothing's coming down in this economy. This is Indianapolis, Indiana. Went to the Dollar Tree to stock up on some medication. They were all out of medication. Went to 4 more Dollar Trees around town. The same scene. Medication all out. So they could not get what they needed. They'll have to go to another store. This is New York State. This is incredible. 1 in 8 residential customers are more than 60 days behind in paying utilities. That could be natural gas, it could be probably electric, probably water, but I saw a majority of them were electric. 1 in 8 residents in the state of New York State, that was 1.2 million customers, are 60 days or more behind. And that comes out to be about $1.8 billion of payments that need to be made. The kicker is 60% of these customers are in the New York City area and the Long Island area. Let me repeat that. 60% are in New York City and Long Island area of all those bills that are past due. The state has recently passed a $250 million plan to pay some of these bills. Also, there was another program pushed in to bring it up to $587 million that will be used. Now, I'm all for helping people, but this is taking from somewhere else and supporting someone that can't pay their bill. Now, granted, maybe they have a legitimate need, but most of that money, guess where it's going to go? If 60% of the customers are in New York City or in Long Island, that money will be sent there. To me, that's sort of in the realms of buying votes, buying support, because New York City, Long Island area is typically a Democratic area, and that really controls a big part of the New York State, especially the upstate. So it seems like it's just buying votes. This person from Alabama, and for the last 6 years, they have traveled to Florida to a beach there. They go to the exact same spot every year. So they know what normal looks like. They were there before COVID, they were there during COVID, and they are there now. They said definitely not as many people on the beach, that is for sure. They said usually they spend about $100 to stop at the Walmart there and just get some grocery food, be it like cold cuts, cookies, stuff like that, chips for their stay down there, snacking. They said this year they spent $130. So that's a good 30% increase right there. But definitely less people there. This is the owner of an HVAC, heat and air business in New Hampshire. They have a problem getting motors to repair walk-in coolers. Walk-in coolers are important because most walk-in coolers belong to a restaurant or a business. If their cooler goes down, that means they can't really be profitable if they have to close down. So motors are a problem. He took his Ford into the shop. He made an appointment, took it in that day, and they had to tell him, sorry, we can't help you. We'll have to wait on that. It was just for a power steering pump. A very easy repair for a Ford dealership. They also said the Dollar General near me are closed most of the days. There's no workers. He ordered pizza and burritos. He ordered from 2 different restaurants, and he ordered Saturday at 6 p.m. That's prime time for people to be going out and grabbing something to eat. He ordered it, and they told him 15 minutes. Typically, it's 30 minutes. When he got there to pick him up, he knows why. both restaurants were dead. His words, dead as a doorknob. So definitely people are saving their money. This person says they saved their receipts. They shop at Costco. They said vitamin E has been up $2 since their last run, and they run every 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, it was in the $7 to $8 range. Or 2 months ago, a few months ago, it was 7 to 8. So big increase in vitamin E. Vitamin C up $1 in a couple weeks. Turmeric, I pronounced that wrong. Up $10. Zinc up $5. They said their Parmesan cheese they would buy it in 2 large containers, and it ran about $6 to $8 for those 2 containers. Now they're selling them single containers for $8.39. Tissues, Kleenex, $15 a few months ago, now $20 for the packs. Scotch toilet paper, $18 a few months ago, now $25. They said, sorry, not seeing 9%, more like 25% on average. They also said crime out the roof, shooting, road rage. Also, homelessness has increased here big time. Their words. This is a company, it's Air Products, it's a good company. CO2 that they sell is a byproduct of producing fertilizer and burning natural gas. Since both of these are in short supply, the natural gas and the fertilizer, they're not making as much CO2. So this is causing, that problem. And the problem is worse up north. I work at a distribution center in North Carolina foothills. He did not tell me what kind of distribution. I don't know if it's car parts, if it's food, if it's household goods. I have no idea. He did not specify. But it is a distribution center. In June, we were told that the distribution center would likely be operating 24/7 starting in August. In mid-July, they shut down most of the second shift and let nearly all of the temporary workers go. We are still operating 7 days per week, but things are pretty slow right now. So they were projecting a few months ago that in August they'd be humming along really well and they would have to go to 24/7. Reality is set in. They've gotten rid of a lot of workers. And most of the second shift is gone. It's just a skeleton crew. So that tells you something about the economy. This is 20 miles south of Kansas. This is a Dollar General. This general store closes at 3 p.m. for the last 3 days. Why? Workers. They have no AC inside it, and that's probably one reason they're going to close early, because of the probably very hot in that store. The AC is broken. They can't get repair parts. Only 2 boxes of cat food and 1 bag of cat food in there. They drove to Nebraska last week. Crops were late, but looking good. So there is a lot of positive reports I'm getting from farmers. Yes, if you're down in the area that's hit by the drought, your crops suck. Bottom line, we know that. But a lot of places else that are getting the rain, sometimes the crops are late getting put in the ground, but they're looking good. I'm getting lots of positive reports. So don't be discouraged that we're going to be totally without any food. We're producing the food. The key question is, when this food is produced, harvested, where does it go? Is it going overseas? Which the bulk of it is. So that might be something our politicians need to address. Keep the food inside the United States to lower our prices. This is a boots on the ground plus a prayer request. My grandson, 7-year-old, went to the emergency room with abdominal pain, possibly appendicitis or appendix issue. After a 5-hour wait in the emergency room, he was sent home with no resolution. Now he is in a different hospital, and he was finally admitted after an 8-hour wait. Hospital staff is simply overwhelmed, way overstaffed. They cannot keep up. It is frightening. Still no resolution to his problem, and still he has not seen a doctor yet. So pray for this 7-year-old. Pray for that he can see a doctor, and pray that he can get some resolution and at least fixed. Another issue this guy brought up. My homeowner's insurance went $500 up a year. $500. Also, my car insurance jumped for $600, and he has no reason why, because he's had no claims on either the house or the car, or he has had no changes. So he had to cut back his coverage a lot, I guess, on his vehicle and maybe his house, just to bring that payment back to his old payment so he can afford it. So people are suffering. Take care of each other, please. Do something kind. If you don't see any good things out in the world, you make it your job to do something nice for someone. Thanks for watching.